Okay, so you can get a closer shot of what I'm doing. So I'm inside of the signature. I'm going to go ahead and stitch up into the next hole. So I'm taking the needle from the inside of the signature, out the signature, pulling my string taut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my curved needle and I'm going to go ahead and go between the first signature and the cover. And so my needle is just sneaking under all of these stitches from the first signature. And it's just going to sneak through. And that's what's going to attach the next signature in. Pull that nice and taut. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back in the same hole that I came out of. And sometimes I like to just tug it just to make sure that this stitch is taut before I start pulling this one. So now I'm going to go up to the next hole. Go from inside the signature to the outside, pull it nice and taut. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my needle and just sneak between the signature and the cover here. Pull it nice and taut. And go back into the signature. Okay, last one. Go up to the top hole in the second signature, pull the string out, make sure this is nice and taut. Now I'm going to go ahead and go between the signature and the cover with my curved needle. I just have to be careful for some reason. I'm having a little bit of trouble there. Keep hooking the cover paper. Okay, now I got it. Now, instead of going back in the second signature, I'm going to go ahead and add the third signature.
Okay, so before I can add the third signature, I need to take the needle and go ahead and loop between the stitches between the first and the second signature. This just will make the chain look more consistent. The chain on the edges never looks the same as the middle holes do, but by doing that extra step, it'll look a little more consistent. Okay, now I'm going to insert my needle into the hole in the third signature, and that's going to help to attach it to the second signature. You want to pull nice and taut, and then you're going to take your needle and go down into the next hole.
Okay, so now I'm stitching down. And to attach the third signature to the book, I'm going to go ahead and just take my curved needle and go between the stitches between the first and the second signature. And that's building the chain that's going to connect the signatures together to the covers. Okay, and now I'm going to go back in that signature. Okay, so now I'm going from the second hole in the third signature down to the third hole in the third signature. And I just want to give you a closer look at how I'm using the curved needle to create the chain stitch that's connecting the signatures. Okay, so this is coming down and I'm pulling it out. Okay, nice and taut. I'm going to close the signature. And now my stitch is outside of the book. To attach it, I'm just going to take my curved needle and go between the first and the second signature, just below the stitches that are attaching the second signature to the first signature. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back into the third signature. Okay. Now I'm going down to the fourth hole in the third signature, coming out, pulling it nice and taut. Now I'm going to go between, so you'll see my needle is going between the first and the second signature, and it's just coming around like that. And that's what's going to connect the signatures. And now I'll go back in to the fourth hole. Okay, so I am inside the third signature at the fourth hole. I attached that part to the third signature. Now I'm going to go down a stitch to the last hole, come outside of the signature, take my needle, and I'm going to go ahead and go between the first and the second signature to create that chain stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and go around the stitch again between the second and third signature. And now I'm going to go ahead and go into the fourth signature. So this is my fourth signature. I'm going into it at the bottom hole. Open up, pull it nice and taut, go up a hole, okay. And so by now you probably have noticed that this bookbinding is a quite repetitive process. Okay, now to attach the fourth signature, I'm going to go ahead and sneak my needle between the second and third signature to attach to the fourth. Okay, and then I'm going to go back into that same hole that I came out of. So now I'm at my fifth and last signature. If you have more than 5 signatures, then you will just continue the same process, just always making sure that you loop between the 2 previous signatures to attach the signature that you're adding. Now I'm going to add the last signature. If I wanted to, I could also add the cover at the same time. by adding the cover at the same time as I add the last signature, there is a way to make sure that you only stitch through the last signature once. I find that to be complicated for beginners that are just learning how to bookbind. When you're first learning this process of bookbinding, I suggest that you attach the last signature and then attach the cover. What this causes to happen if you're not simultaneously attaching the cover and the last signature is you'll end up stitching through the last signature twice. But in the beginning, when you're first learning, I think that's totally fine. So after you do your first book, if you want to make another book and you want to make sure that you're only stitching through the last signature once, you should just come see me and just, stitch your book up to this point and then come see me with your book, and I will show you one-on-one how to attach the last signature and the back cover at the same time. For now, I am going to go ahead and attach that last signature. I'm going to do this on my own and have you do this on your own, and then I'm going to go ahead and film how to attach the back cover by stitching through the last signature again. Okay, see you soon.